Hey guys, how's everybody doing with the release of Transformers The Rise of Beast coming out this past weekend? Here's my own personal ranking of all seven Transformers movies. Yes, seven. I am not going to be including the two animated films that came out during the 80s. I am only going to be covering the seven movies that are canon with each other, the five Michael Bay movies, and the two prequels, I guess. Those are the only movies that I am including in this ranking, and also just the fact I've never seen the two 80s movies, and I probably don't know where to find them. So I'm just gonna be doing these movies, and if you don't like that, then I am sorry. But with that out of the way, let's get started. At number seven is going to be the last Transformers: The Last Night. Do I even need really to explain why this is the worst of the franchise? If you saw my review for this movie, then you basically know that I hate this movie. I hate everything that this movie tried to do. I hate these new characters. I hate that Optimus Prime is hardly in the movie. The comedy hardly ever works. And the only compliment that I can give this movie is Mark Wahlberg returning. Like I said with Age of Extinction, I think he is a very nice. Well, I like how he's a part of this franchise for a while, but then he left. I thought it was nice to see him come back, but that's really the only thing that I really liked about this movie. I guess I kind of like the idea about this like weird thing about like Transformers like in Knights, but we've seen this story before. Everything that goes on in this movie, we have fucking seen before. It I honestly feel that they didn't know what to write about, and Paramount just decided to rush a sequel. They told the writers they only had like a week to write the script, so they just watched all the other four movies in one day, and they just jogged down their favorite things from those four movies. That's basically how this movie feels. It's the same exact movie. We've seen it all before, and it's just fucking boring. Coming in at number six is going to be Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. Now, keep in mind, just because it's at the bottom, I don't hate this movie. I actually enjoy this movie. Maybe because of the nostalgic I have for this movie is why it's up here high. Because I grew up watching this and Age of Extinction the most as a kid, and I remember this one being one of my favorites because this was the one where Optimus Prime dies, and then the whole story was all the characters try to revive Optimus Prime. I like that story. I think that's a cool story. But like I said the last night, Optimus Prime is just he's hardly in this movie. Like he's up there. He's there for the beginning. He shows up for another 5 minutes, and then we get that awesome battle between him and Megatron's army. But then after that, he dies and then just disappears. I get it. I like the story where they're trying to save him, but I would have loved to see Optimus Prime in this movie more. Maybe if they just wrote it differently, or maybe he dies towards like the final act of the movie, maybe I would have preferred that. And then the other thing I just hated was the comedy. I thought the comedy sometimes fit in perfect places in the first movie, but here they just jog it up to 10, and it's just more like a fucking parody through half of it, especially where like fucking Sam, like he's going through the book like that, like looking like he's having a stroke. That's played for laughs, but it's not fucking funny. I think this movie's fun. I enjoy this movie. I love the story that they're going for. I like how Megatron is more fierce and he's more angry and he means business this time. I think this movie is it's a passable sequel, and especially with all these other Transformers movies, it's definitely not the worst. And at number five is going to be Transformers: Dark of the Moon. Now, this is a Transformers movie I basically absolutely knew nothing about because I think I would put this movie on every now and then, but then take it out because I got bored of it, or maybe I just didn't like it. I don't know, but on this rewatch, I kind of enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. It's different. I do miss Megan Fox. I do think she was a nice addition to the franchise, but history, right? And I also kind of like this whole thing where the movie kind of becomes like an apocalypse movie, and especially when we get to see like the original ruler of the Autobots before before their world collapsed. I really like that. But this movie's just fine. I think the movie is just okay. It's not the worst Transformers movie we've ever seen. It's not by far the best Transformers movie we've ever seen. But I don't know if this was a pacing issue or maybe it was just me bored. This movie took a fucking while to get to the point where I was just sitting there, I was just like, uh huh, oh, This has only been going on for 5 minutes. That's basically every Transformers movie, though. But passable Transformers movie. It's a Transformers movie. What the fuck else do you want? Now we're at the top four, and this might actually surprise some people because my number four is Transformers: Age of Extinction. I think this movie is actually good. Now, the only thing that I will agree on is that this movie is really fucking long, and it does not need to be as long as it is. But other than that, I enjoy this movie. It's a lot of fun. Maybe if we're my nostalgic for watching this movie a lot. Again, I like Mark Wahlberg. He's a nice addition to this franchise. I also like the idea where all the humans are trying to make their own Autobots because they basically are saying we can make everything else: cars, TVs, fucking consoles, basically everything. But why can't we make Autobots? I like that. That's a cool idea. And I also love seeing the dinosaur Autobot. That was really advertised back when this movie first came out. I remember when I was younger and I always see TV spots and the one thing that they would advertise a lot is like, we got fucking dinosaurs now. I don't know. Maybe for my nostalgic is why I love this movie. So is why I like this movie. I don't know why. This movie is just maybe because I don't know why. It's just a lot of fun for me personally, and I also hate this like weird subplot going on where like the FBI is kind of like the villain. Where we've seen it before. I wouldn't mind seeing it, but and then another thing with it is that it's kind of playing that the FBI or the government is the villain, but then it just shows that it's another fucking Autobot. And he's like, and like after they defeat the government and all the other Autobots on Earth, the movie's just like, oh shit, we had another Autobot. Just make the movie like 40 minutes longer and just have him come down trying to destroy the Earth. Yeah, this movie, when that's like I said, with the runtime of this movie, when it feels over, it just keeps going. That's like the main issue with this movie. But again, I have nostalgia for this movie. Coming in at number three might be a lot of people's favorite of the franchise, but fuck it, controversy. My number three is gonna be Bumblebee. I thought this movie was awesome. I really enjoyed this movie, especially the friendship between Charlie and Bumblebee. And I like Charlie as a character. I think she's very interesting because like like I said, the relationship with her and Bumblebee, like she like has like a new friend since her dad died, and that was like her like only thing that she really had was her father for a while, and that was like her best friend until he died. And then she gets Bumblebee, and then those her those two become like best friends, and I like that. The only thing that I just don't care for much is the comedy in this movie. They do play a lot of it in here, but again, I thought like the first movie, I thought it worked in some places, and I laughed a few times, but sometimes it went over the rails. And I like seeing John Cena in this movie. I think John Cena's not the best actor. I don't think he has the best acting talents, but I do like seeing him in this movie for someone, like I said, who is a wrestling fan. But other than that, I really enjoy this movie. And I didn't even know that this movie was a prequel. And it doesn't even feel like a prequel in some moments. Like, and when it does feel like a prequel, it does show like those 80s vibes. Like, it does make you feel like you're in the 80s. Like, people, how the way they dress, the cars, the soundtrack. We gotta talk about that soundtrack. It's just, ah. He was gonna be the new kid on the block, Transformers: The Rise of Beasts. Now, just keep in mind, just because this movie's on number two doesn't mean I absolutely loved it. It's just a nice addition to this franchise, and maybe because it just felt like a Transformers movie. I thought this movie was fun. I had a decent time with this movie. Like I said, just because it's on number two doesn't mean I absolutely loved it. Doesn't mean it's one of the best movies ever made. But I enjoyed this movie. It's a lot of fun. I had a decent time at the theater. But I felt that the 90s setting, like this movie is set in 1994, I honestly forgot it was set in 1994. Like, it even showed at the beginning of the movie after opening, it just shows 1994. I was like, okay, this is kind of like a sequel to Bumblebee then, alright. But then, the further this movie got in, it didn't feel like it was a 90s movie. It felt like it was modern. Why did this movie have to take place in 1994? Why couldn't you just, like, make this movie to where it's just in present day. Why not just like in early 2000s, like 2002? And another thing that I hate about prequels is that in this movie where like the final act you feel that they're all going to die but they're not. This is a fucking prequel. It like Yeah, I get it. It's played for suspense, and it's just trying to make you feel something for these characters. But when you're sitting there watching this movie, and if you've seen all the other movies, you know that they're gonna succeed. Like that's the thing that I hate about prequels. It's like you know what's gonna happen. Well, I hate prequels that do that. Like it's giving us answers that I never asked for. Jeez. Coming in at number one, which what other movie would it be? And that is the original Transformers. I think this movie is actually pretty good. I don't think it's one of the best movies ever made. I don't think it's one of the best superhero movies ever made. I don't think it's one of the best comic book movies ever made. I do think that this movie is pretty good and one of Michael Bay's better movies. I enjoy this movie. I enjoy Sam. I enjoy Shia LaBeouf's and Megan Fox's chemistry. I like the little mystery at the first act of this movie. The only flaw I could give this movie is like with Bumblebee is the comedy. In some areas it worked, some areas it didn't work. Other than that, it worked in a lot of places. I thought this movie is a pretty goddamn good movie. It's a lot of fun. If you just want to watch some machines beat the shit out of each other for 2 hours, this movie's for you. So thank you all so much for watching. That is my own personal ranking of all seven live action Transformers movies. Let me know in the comments below if you agree or disagree, and if you do not agree, please leave me your own ranking of the Transformers movies in the comments below, and I will reply to them. Thank you all so much for watching, and if you like this video, like it. If you loved it, subscribe and hit the bell notification so you will get notified for my latest videos. But until my next video, take care.